But Christian McCaffrey officially on the IR, so he will miss the next 4 games. To me, this is one of those situations, Anthony, to just kind of sum it up, it's the big picture in the NFL with these franchises is not the same of what the big picture is for us in the fantasy football sphere, So they would rather have a healthy CMC for the stretch run, late winter into hopefully February. They would rather have him then than bring him out for week 2, week 3, week 4, and he could do even worse damage, and then he's gone altogether. So I think they saw enough out of Jordan Mason where they were okay making this decision. Isaac Guerrero didn't get anything in that first game, but my understanding is they do like him there. They are confident in him, so I think he can get some work as well. And this is, hey, guess what? Contract year for Brock Purdy. This is a great opportunity for Brock Purdy to step up. Not to say that he hasn't, but to step up even further and kind of air the ball out. Maybe they go to more passing, And then there's also Debo is like, Debo and Juszczyk are the Swiss Army knives. So listen, no team wants to lose a CMC, but if there's a team that can survive for at least a few weeks without him, it's the 49ers with all of their weapons. So, I know it's unfortunate. I've got him in a lot of fantasy leagues too. I know it pisses me off too, but here we are. We got to roll with it.
No, Steve,
without the NFL, there is no fantasy, so we got to roll with the punches.
So let's stick with here first. This is like mind blowing because you podcast with me. You've known me for a long time, and I've always kind of been injury cautious. And then when I started playing high stakes, I realized, because like how many leagues like have I won, and you can attest to this. Using like a defense and a kicker to kind of win me a fantasy football championship. You can do that in a home league. You can do that in a regular league. You could like be the 6th seed and then go on a run. FFPC is very hard to do. Points matter. So and I realized my first couple of years, I'm winning divisions. I'm parlaying my entries, but I'm not cracking the big one. And I realized I need to make a shift in my strategy. And you need to take shots on these players, right? People are afraid of injuries. They drop to a little bit of a value. And if they stay healthy, they're league winners. The Hollywood Browns, the A-Chans, Christian Watson, Anthony Richardson, and CMC this year. Like normally I would have been like, nah, I'm not touching him. I took a little bit more CMC than I probably should have because CeeDee Lamb was much safer and very similar ceiling.
Yeah, but at that point, there was also the CD contract. I know we all expected that, like once he signed it, he would come back, he'd be fine. But I mean, that was kind of looming. It was getting a little dicey there towards the end.
But if you're a fantasy manager of CMC and you don't have Jordan Mason, this is bad because the fantasy manager with Jordan Mason, if he or she is smart, they're asking for like ETN, Derrick Henry, Debo. They're asking for a monster return. And it's not just a blind handcuff. Jordan Mason last week, 22.2 PPR points, 28 rushes, dominated that backfield, 1 reception and a touchdown, 147 yards. Like he is the ultimate fantasy football lottery ticket because if you have CMC, you want Jordan Mason, you want to corner this backfield. And if you have Jordan Mason, you don't have to sell him. You could use him yourself. You can essentially hold him hostage to the fan because like if a CMC fantasy manager isn't willing to pay up, then you just hold on to Jordan Mason. You start him and let the CMC manager blow his entry fee.
Anthony, I don't know if you remember, and we're going to get to all these questions coming up right now. Right, meow, I apologize. But Anthony, if you remember, this reminds me of, I think last week or a couple days ago, you and I were doing this show together. And we said to somebody who was actually talking about this, trading Mason, like, no, you hold that guy's feet to the fire. And now that even proves to be more true.
What I was telling people, and it goes because I was also doing like the Reddit AMA for RotoWire and talking to like people on our on our comments on some of these videos off air was like at the time there was like, because remember that Sunday Night Football broadcast on CMC. they were saying, hey, he might not play in week 2. So after that week, like, why? Like, you at least have one more week.
Yep.
Before you sell him. And now we're not even in week 2 yet. And a significant news on CMC. So if you sold early, you probably didn't get what you could have gotten. Where now, like I'm telling you, like a CMC swap for ETN, I mean, a Mason for ETN, like that shit's going to go down. And if you're a Mason owner, go buy CMC low.
Absolutely. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's get into